Chris lives in a big modern mansion on a mountainside. He receives a call from his ex-wife, Jamie, asking him to sign their long-overdue divorce and alimony papers. Chris seems remorseful about their ending relationship because Jamie feels like he has been too focused on his work to spend time with her and their daughter, Willow. Jamie assures his daughter Willow that he still loves Chris even though they're separated. That night, Chris is doing some grocery shopping when a woman calls out to him, asking for wine recommendations. She introduces herself as Sky, sharing that she had a bad day and wants to drink it away. After Chris suggests a wine, they separate but Sky's Uber was cancelled, so Chris offers to drive her home. They head to the motel where Sky stays, but she doesn't feel like returning as her roommates, who had a major argument earlier, is still awake. Chris suggests meeting at his house before he takes Sky back. They visit Chris's home, sipping wine as they discuss their jobs. Chris is a retired businessman who owned a home security system, while Sky used to be a model in Los Angeles before coming to the town and becoming a waitress at a cocktail bar. They drink and chat until past midnight, when Sky notes her roommate is likely asleep. But Chris invites her to stay, and they perform a sacred dance on the bed. Chris wakes next morning, Sky back at the motel, greeted by frantic roommate Lisa, who stayed up all night wondering where Sky went. Sky remains at Lisa's, advising her to settle the quarrel later. After meeting Sky, Chris is haunted by memories of him and his daughter, prompting him to visit the bar where Sky works. They chat, and Chris notes his ex-wife urges him to move on, making Sky uneasy. Later, they walk together as Sky admits she has no family and was raised in foster care. Chris reveals his troubled childhood, with absent parents. As they near Chris' car, someone is attempting to steal it. Chris attempts to drive off the thief, but when Sky hurls a bottle at him, the thief strikes back, beating Chris with his crowbar. Thus, his leg is broken, and Sky takes him home from the hospital in a wheelchair the next morning. Sky feels guilty over Chris's injury, so she offers to care for him during his recovery. Chris asks her to move in, and she agrees before leaving his place to get her things. Meanwhile, at the motel, Lisa waits for Sky as her landlord, Ronald, tells her she was happier before Sky moved in. Sky appears, confessing jealousy before heading inside. Lisa is upset Sky won't say where she was all night, but Sky calms her with a kiss. They're actually lovers, but Sky still goes to Chris' house to move in. They linger on kisses, savoring each other, as Chris tunes out Jamie's call. After Sky tucks him in, Chris admits he loves her, and Sky confirms the feeling is mutual, though it frightens her. At the motel, Ronald enters Lisa's room to ask about her overdue rent but finds her dead in the bathtub with wounds on her wrists. The police visit to examine her death, questioning Ronald about possible foul play. Ronald thinks she went to the afterlife due to Sky moving out, but the detective doubts Sky's real identity since her name isn't on the registry. A sudden media surge arrives at the motel to report the news, disappointing the detective. At Chris' home, Jamie calls, requesting the divorce papers. He shares his injury, urging her to drive Willow to his home over the weekend to lift his spirits. He agrees, telling Jamie he hired a private care nurse to care for him. Chris grows irritated when she questions his action and hangs up. Meanwhile, the new couple spies on each other as Sky steals Chris' phone when he's asleep and Chris searches her bag while she's showering. Sky intercepted him after seeing her photos with Lisa. He apologizes for snooping, but Sky says she'd do the same if in his position. That night, Sky enters Willow's room and lies on the bed holding a teddy bear. Early that morning, Chris searches for his missing phone after seeing the news of Lisa's death. Sky returns with chicken, eats, then glances at her suspiciously before asking if she's seen his lost phone. After Sky turns him away, he reveals Lisa's death, but she shows no reaction. To his horror, she confesses that she's the one who killed Lisa and Sky only used her to be able to stalk Chris' house from her room to figure out his routine. Terrified and wounded, Chris attempts to leave the house, but Sky locks the door with Chris' phone linked to the home security system. She tases him until he collapses. Chris awakens bound to his chair as Sky explains she's doing this to seize his fortune. She kicks him down, demanding all his credentials and passwords. He refuses, but Sky begins to probe him with his injured leg. Meanwhile, in Lisa's room, Ronald plans to clean it when he spots Sky's telescope spying on Chris. He's stunned to find Sky in Chris' home and watches as she moves all of his money to her account. Later, she cleans Chris' sweat and reveals her next move, having him contact his lawyers to sell all his assets and form a company named Skiko. Ronald saw Sky release his restraints to prep for Zoom, but he used the chance to discard the scissors and choke her. Sky finally grabs the scissors and stabs Chris' shoulder, freeing herself. Sky threatens to harm Jamie and Willow, compelling Chris to comply. Continuing her scheme, Sky controls the communication channels between and from the house. The next day, she meets Ki-ju, the man who tried to steal Chris' car, now collaborating with her to buy off all of Chris' wine, art, and furniture. Later, Sky exits the house in Chris' car, while Ronald drives there and breaks in. He urges Chris to flee if paid heavily, so Chris asks him to take the $6 million painting. Sky returns to the house, having seen Ronald break in through the security cameras. Ronald grabs a knife, threatens Sky, but she shows her katana and begins locking doors, making him beg for release. She lets Ronald slip deeper into the house, then asks Chris to monitor the cameras as she follows him slowly. She lures him with harsh, threatening tunes, trailing him to the garage, trapping him and knocking him down. While all this happens, Chris escapes his bondage and exits using his snow bike. But the bike hits a rock, launching Chris into the air as he lands on the street in front of an approaching car. The car halts as the driver lifts Chris into the passenger seat, Chris revealing a woman aims to kill him. The driver dials 911 for him. As Chris explains his situation, he realizes the driver is heading to his house and the woman on the line is Sky. Chris is wheeled back into the living room after looking disheveled. Sky kisses the man, then excuses herself to wash up. The man identifies as Sebastian, Sky's lover and stepfather, who claimed he killed her mother after marriage and trained Sky as a con artist. He targets Chris due to resentment toward wealthy individuals with an early advantage in success. That night, Chris hears the two criminals make love before Sky approaches. She relished playing Chris' lover, yet it was all fantasy. Chris questions why they remain in his home after seizing everything, but she notes he still holds $14 million in bearer bonds locked in a bank safe deposit box. They need his thumbprint to access the deposit box, so they sever his thumb brutally. Morning, Jamie and Willow head to the house for a visit, with Willow rushing to her room for her favorite plushie. Meanwhile, Jamie is stunned by the house's condition and shouts at Chris as Sky enters the living room with Willow. She introduces herself as Chris' nurse, then Sebastian joins, making Jamie wonder where Chris is. Sky then throws the confused Jamie and Willow into the shed where they locked Chris in. The family clings in grief as Sky and Sebastian plot to infiltrate Chris' deposit box. En route, Sebastian notes Sky's unease during the heist, but she advises him to concentrate on their plan. They trick their way into opening the deposit box, bypassing the biometric scan. In the shed, Chris spots an outdoor vent, sparking the idea to send Willow outside to unlock it and free them. Jamie initially disagrees, calling it too risky, but no other option exists. Willow crawls into the vent as Chris informs Jamie that Sky will retrieve his bonds from the bank, but Jamie reveals she used them as leverage for their divorce and now holds them in another deposit box. They panic, knowing the couple would have noticed and returned to retrieve Jamie's finger, but Willow has escaped via the vent. Sebastian returns, checks the cameras, and spots Willow inside. They enter the house. Sebastian hands Sky a gun, instructing her to kill Chris and find Jamie. Sebastian takes Chris' phone and searches the house, finding no Willow or Jamie hiding in a room. Sebastian stands before a door. Chris leaps out, axing him, sending the phone to the floor. Sebastian beats Chris and tells Sky, aiming the gun at Chris, to shoot him. She keeps asking where Jamie is. Sebastian calls her a pussy, causing Sky to shoot him dead. Chris seizes the chance to grab the axe and strike her shoulder, then dashes off with his phone and hides. Sky resumes searching for Chris after removing the axe, now using her house's system to tease her and send an SOS to the police. He shuts off all the lights and tells Sky to come find him, agitating her by flickering the lights and doors in his house. Finally, Chris subdues Sky, forcing her to relinquish the gun and axe. But she grabs the axe, cuts Chris during their fight, then takes the lead. Jamie joins Sky's fight, but Sky cuts her leg and reclaims the advantage. Chris retrieves the katana from the floor, severing Sky's leg, but she rises again, poised to kill them before being shot from behind by Willow. Sky hits the floor as police arrive, naming Margaret to Chris before dying. Subscribe, enable notifications, and leave a like and comment to support the channel. Thanks for watching. See you again.